Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey y'all, I hope you've been well. My guest today is James Franchise. You may have seen his metal rendition of Casting Crown's Praise You in the Storm on YouTube, or maybe as one of the Grizzly Award nominees for Cover Song of the Year. So let's all find out more about him.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you very much, Cindy.
Somebody sent me the Casting Crown song, Praise You in the Storm. And I just kind of listened to it real quick, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. And then that breakdown hit. And I was like, okay. So you had me hooked then.
Thank you very much.
I looked further at your channel and I saw your video where it says, "Who is James?" and told your story and how you felt like metal music touched a segment of society. And I went, this guy is my guy. That's my thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I wanted to let people know more about you. So first of all, tell me, who is James Franchise?
James Franchise is my artist name. Santiago Hidalgo is my birth name. Yeah, I'm Dominican. I am from New York City. I'm married to a beautiful woman named Rosie. We have a beautiful 4-year-old daughter. I've been in bands since I was I want to say 17 years old. I'm 32 now, so just about 15 years. My first actual real band was Where Fire May Fail, which was the music that you guys heard from the Worship EP with the Oceans cover and all that stuff. So that was my real band where we actually hit the road and gained some traction and recognition. For whatever the case may be, we didn't continue. People had different priorities, but just like you said, I felt like I was drawn to this kind of music, and I felt like there was a gap between metal and heavy and aggressive music and worship music. And I felt like there was a lot of work to be done in that field. So I felt the Lord leading me to continue to create just music that will bridge those two and just reach out to the people that listen to metal music but won't particularly listen contemporary Christian music or the hymns or stuff like that. So in a way, it's just giving people from that kind of culture a different worship experience. I'm in a new band called This Surrender. We're dropping our first single this Monday, and we're dropping an album in maybe a few weeks.
So this is good timing.
Very good timing.
Who have you got in your band?
So there's 3 other guys. We have a drummer, we have a keyboard player, and we have a guitarist, and I'm the front man and vocalist.
Nice. What are some of your musical influences growing up? How did you get to this point?
Okay, so my brother one time brought home a mix CD of a lot of rock music. I guess some of his friends just introduced him to it, and he was like, yo, bro, you got to listen to this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. The first rock bands that I ever heard was System of a Down, Linkin Park, and Blink-182. So it's kind of like a mix of a lot of different things, but I started gravitating more towards heavy music. I still appreciate the pop punk music like Blink-182, but I was definitely felt more of an identity with the heavier music. And I thought to myself, man, why aren't there any Christian bands like this? So then a friend of church introduced me to some Christian rock bands, and I was like, no way. He just started opening my world, and some of the early bands that I used to listen to was bands like Demon Hunter and Under Oath and some of those heavier bands from the early days. And then I just picked up a guitar and just wanted to learn how to play this heavy music. Yeah, those were my early influences. My current influences are more along the lines of For Today and Killswitch Engage. So those are the bands that I really, really love.
Nice. And speaking of System of a Down, you've heard ABR's version of Chop Suey, hadn't you?
Yeah, I know. Listen, I actually, so seeing the nominations, I didn't know that they covered that song. So I heard it and I was like, this is so awesome, man. It's so cool. It's so cool. So that's pretty great.
Worlds collide, right?
I know. It's great, though. It's great.
Yeah. Music has always spoken to me, even before I was a believer. I'm a lot older than you. I grew up on Led Zeppelin and Steppenwolf and Boston, and I got into mostly contemporary Christian because there wasn't a lot of rock back then. When we started getting some quality rock, I was really excited. I began to see the ministry that metal musicians That's what you are, James.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I love that term. That's awesome.
Lord brought it to my mind that why doesn't the church support these musicians? I saw the fruit. I saw the people coming to Christ. And like you said, maybe wouldn't go to a church, but they would go to a bar and listen to a band that might offer a message of hope. Christian metal and rock musicians are on this fringe that is not being supported. So I decided I would start supporting it. So I started doing it just for me. Started coming to the concerts with gift bags and things. I started cooking meals and bringing them to the venues or inviting them to the house. Like, and I know people have been doing that for years, but I somehow or another, it kind of got out that I knew what people like to eat. And I mean, I had somebody tonight ask me about a band, what they like to eat. And so I thought, well, I'm going to lean into it, right?
Yes.
That's how God starts a ministry.
Amen.
So that's what I've been doing for the last few years. And anything that will add to that, which this radio show is one thing, I'm able to put you guys out there to promote what you're doing. The Grizzly Awards, which is also a chance to showcase talent and give bands something that they deserve, And then I also book for the Loud and Proud Festival in Betzdorf, Germany. Again, helping the artists get over there and being the English liaison. So anyway, that's kind of my story.
That's cool.
So you can see that we have kind of the same.
Yes,
hearts.
we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's cool. I've met some people like you over in the East Coast as well that do stuff like that. And like I said, and Where Fire May Fail, we got to kind of like branch out a little bit more. So my heart goes out because you guys, like you said, we have the same mindset because we're kind of like bridging the two worlds together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so cool. It's so cool. So that's, God bless you, man. God bless your ministry.
Yeah, and yours. We're in this together. We need to edify each other, right?
Amen.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this. Check us out on Facebook at I'm with Mothership. Outperformance Service Family is a Solid Rock Radio business ministry partner who offers turnkey e-commerce website design, marketing, and Converge technology consulting. Online at outperformancemarketing.com.
Tell me some more about the new album that's coming up. What are we going to expect? Are these covers? Are these originals? Are we a mix? What do we got?
Okay. All right. So I'll start with the entire backstory. In July of 2020, I lost my job due to COVID. They were making budget cuts. And unfortunately, I was just like on the low pole of the seniority. So they let me go. A lot of the covers that I do, I was funding them myself. So I was in a weird place because I didn't really want to take money out of what I use to support my family to fund the covers. So I was like, you know what? Let me put God to the test and create a GoFundMe to see who will want to support me if I wanted to do something like a worship album. So I put it out there. I set the goal, and in under 3 months, the goal was reached of $5,000. And with that money, I was able to fund my entire project with everything that I needed. And I was able to collaborate with a producer named Ben Dixon from Virginia. We were working together. He's already mixing the album. On the album, you're going to hear 5 covers and you're going to hear 5 of my originals, which includes the original that's dropping on Monday. So yeah, I just basically built my following based on metal worship covers. So it's something that I want to kind of give back to my supporters. At the same time, just trying to tell my story with my original music as well. The Rebirth album is going to drop. I don't have the exact date yet, but sometime mid-February.
Now, how do you pick the covers? Like, just something jumps out at you?
So I have like a playlist. And for years, I've always just like felt like some songs, even the lyrical content, like Casting Crowns has a lot of quote unquote metal lyrics. Like it's like lyrics that belong in a metal song. And it's just, I like just like the realism that Mark writes with from Casting Crowns. And my first cover was Casting Crowns song, Set Me Free. I did Praise You in the Storm. And now one of my supporters made a request through Patreon for another Casting Crowns song. So it's just, it really depends on what kind of stage I am and what kind of season I am in my life. Then what I do is I pick the top 2 that I'm kind of like feeling in the moment, and I let my supporters decide. So I set up polls on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and then I let my community decide which song they would like to hear as a worship cover. Then that's pretty much how I pick my songs.
Doing it for the people.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little something you may not know. Of course, I'm a huge Demon Hunter fan too, but I know somebody else that's a huge Demon Hunter fan that will probably surprise you. Chris Huffman, the bassist for Casting Crowns.
He's a Demon Hunter fan?
Yes.
That's so cool. So you probably won't be able to see, but I have a Demon Hunter tattoo, the logo with the split and the bullet hole in the head.
Yeah, that's Damone. Do you know that's his name?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love those guys. The Triptych album changed my life.
Oh my gosh, that is the best album.
Since then, I've been following them. It was one of my first tattoos. Because I just felt, like I felt a connection to the band and I felt a connection to the lyrics, and they were a really big part of my development as a Christian metalhead. So that's so cool. I didn't know that about the bassist. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Usually I'm a runner for Premier Productions. That's actually where I met him originally, was doing that. The whole story is I was running the band around in my car, and I had a Demon Hunter sticker on the back of my car. It was Mark Hall said, Demon Hunter, huh? I went, yeah. And I said, sorry, I don't have a Casting Crowns sticker. And he goes, you need to talk to Chris Huffman. So I talked to Chris Huffman. And from then on, every time ABR was in town or Demon Hunter was in town, we'd see each other.
That's so cool, man. Wow. Yeah. That is so awesome.
So how about that for fun trivia?
That's pretty cool little fun fact.
Yeah. You've not really done a lot of touring, right?
As a solo artist, I really wanted to build my following from the ground up and really just establish myself on the internet before ever even playing a show. So one of the reasons why I formed the band This Surrender was to now take my music on the road and to just contact as many people as I can and just see who would have me come out, talk to some of the local pastors in New York City and try to see, what we can do. And obviously, with the whole COVID thing, it's kind of weird, but 2021 is a year where I'm really looking to take my worship and like my new original content as well as much as I can.
Where did you get the name for the new band?
There's a song called Make Room by, I believe they're called Community Worship. And the lyrics are, this is where I lay it down, every doubt and every crown. This is my surrender. I didn't really want to have this is my surrender. So the name This Surrender derives from just us surrendering everything to God. And that's where I came up with the name.
I like it.
Thank you.
What I usually ask the bands are what their favorite road snacks are. So when you're out on the road, what do you like to eat?
When I'm out on the road, it would have to be Pringles. Pringles and Gatorade. That's fuel for me. And I'm good with Pringles and Gatorade. I'm good for a while. And I kind of the snacks trick my brain into thinking that it's eating and it's terrible. But on those long road trips, Pringles and Gatorade, that's my go-to.
Okay, what flavor though?
Sour cream and onion and red Gatorade. That's it right there.
Fruit punch.
Yeah, fruit punch.
See, we have to know these things because then someone's going to say, what does James like to eat?
Yeah, that would be cool if someone wanted to know that detail, but yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this. Check us out on Facebook at I'm with Mothership.
Miller Express LLC is a Solid Rock Radio business ministry partner specializing in delivery, setup, and relocation of storage buildings. More info by calling 803-300-7594.
Is there anything that you want to let people know? Anything that I'm not asking that you'd like to share?
I would like people to know that metal music is not the devil's music, and God can use this music for his glory and to make the gospel known. Although the Christian community has made many advancements since I was a kid and since I was first starting to play in bands, there's still just that community of Christians that don't really gravitate towards the kind of music. And I mean, that's okay. It's okay to not like this music, but to have the ideology that this kind of music God rejects and God doesn't use this music is completely false. So yeah, I guess that's what I would want people to know.
Yeah, that's one of the hurdles I think that metal and rock musicians have to jump over every single time they try to present themselves somewhere. It's the message and the heart behind it. So
I agree.
have you got a website, or are you just working off social media pages?
So I have a James Franchise website, yes. Maybe not updated, but yeah, I just, the most part would be just like uploading my latest work. But as soon as I drop the album and the single next week and the album, I'm going to be able to update, since it's been maybe like 6 months since I have dropped any music. But yeah, jamesfranchise.com.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put on my blog the links to that, your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube. So we'll put those on there so people just can click on in and have a listen or whatever.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So we've touched on it a little bit, but what do you think about being nominated for a Grizzly Award for the best cover?
That's so cool, man. It took me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie, because like, I don't know, like I do what I do, but not like, it's weird for me to get any kind of recognition because of why I do what I do. But since the awards have been up, 3 new people have hit me up on my Instagram saying God is working in my ministry, and that's just testimony of his promises, and I'm ready. But without a doubt, my cover is the best cover out of everyone in that group. Without a doubt. I mean, I'm biased.
Say that.
The original song, Casting Crowns, is maybe my top 3 favorite worship bands. And like I was saying earlier, Mark, he writes very, very raw, with lyrics like, I was sure by now, God, you would have reached down to wipe my tears. Like, those are raw. Like, those are lyrics you don't hear in regular worship songs. But what I do like about Mark's writing is that he always turns things around, and at the end he always just lets you know that it's God that's gonna pull you out of that, because the song choice that's just the best cover. In general, I'm in awe of what God can do, and I always tell people, when people tell me, oh my gosh, James, you're so awesome and you're so good, and I'm like, listen, man, I'm just a messenger from Big Guns Upstairs. This is not about me. This is not about me. And God has given me this gift. I can just give credit to God that till this day I haven't paid not 1 cent to any music school or anything like that. And I've been able to learn drums, to learn guitar, to learn bass, to sing, to scream, to write music. And that's just testimony that God can take an ordinary bald brown dude from New York City and elevate him to a place where God can just get all the glory. I'm just so honored to be even nominated along bands like Convictions, August Burns Red. Like, I'm in the same list as August Burns Red. That's crazy. I'm just so grateful.
And that was one of the things that we wanted to do with Grizzlies, is we want to honor people that are serving God in this kind of an industry that don't get any kind of recognition, but we notice, we see you, the fans see you,
That's so cool.
So if I had my way, I'd give every single one of the people that got nominated something.
Right.
Every genre touches different people in different ways and at different times. And how do you narrow that down and say this one's the best? There's no way. But it's just a way to say, hey, we've noticed that there is excellence in metal and rock.
And we appreciate that, Cindy. Thank you so
we
much.
appreciate you, because you guys are saving lives.
Amen.
It's a life and death thing, and then it's a spiritual thing. You can't lead someone to Christ if they decide not to be here anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
Because we're losing people.
Yep. And even in Jesus' ministry, Jesus always supplied a need. And it's funny that you say this, because I was talking to some friends about this. Jesus always met a need, whether it's feeding someone or just, supplying their need in the moment. The gospel is easier to preach to someone homeless when you got a sandwich in your hand, when you got a juice in your hand to give them. So that's the same thing with metal music. You meet people where they are, and some people only speak this language. The metal is a culture. Metal is a language. Some people only speak this language, and this is the only way that you're going to get to them. And God is definitely moving through this music.
Amen. Well, thanks for taking time out.
This is my first ever radio interview.
This has been great.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Well, you have a good night.
Thank you. You as well. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening tonight. Stay tuned for more great music all night long. Don't forget to check out my I'm with Mothership page on Facebook and my blog on solidrockradio.org for links to my guests' social accounts. This show will be replayed at 4 a.m. Eastern Time and will be added to the Solid Rock Radio website, archive, and SoundCloud. I pray you have a wonderful week, and remember to be kind to one another.